welcome back to RMS. If you're new around here, we're an auto electrical fault finding company. We show the ins and outs of the sort of work we do, the jobs we're doing, the faults we come across, etc. So hope you like what you see and hopefully you enjoy this video. Right, this week we haven't booked too much in for the end of the week. Barney's got a couple to finish up. He's going to be showing you them. I've got loads of little jobs to do, uploads of invoicing, older jobs that we've had laying about. So I'm going to show you through them, hopefully show you what we're getting onto next week. And yeah, hopefully from next week we'll be just in doing our day-to-day work, be able to show you some of that and yeah, go from there. So let's get on with it, see what we can find.
Right, so we've got this 09 plate Fiesta in the workshop today. It's coming for a battery drain. The customer's also stated that when he's driving along down the road, occasionally it will come up on a dash that the boot's open. So we have that in mind. I've set the drawer test up about an hour ago and it fully shut down. It was all good. And then after about 20 minutes, every 20 minutes or so, when the car's fully shut down, it all wakes up again as if someone's opening a door. So that may be linked to the boot lock. So we're going to go to the back, strip the boot lock out and disconnect it, let it shut down for a couple of hours, and if it doesn't wake itself back up again, we'll start investigating the boot lock, whether it's the boot lock itself that's failed, have a look at the wiring around it, and yeah, so I'll catch up with you guys once I've got that boot lock out and after a couple of hours or so, and I'll let you know whether it's shut down completely and we'll go from there.
Back on the Q7, you've probably seen this in about the last 2 months worth of videos. It's been an absolute nightmare. Keeps dropping the throttle pedal. This is the one we had in about 2 years ago. Stripped it all out, was doing some testing on it, and then the fault went. We lost the fault and it lasted 2 years. We are careful. We should strip things apart carefully. We try and get as much information from scan tools and voltages and replicating the fault before we even start stripping stuff, you know. So this is why our job takes a little bit longer than what most people jumping in gung-ho, but it normally gives us a result. This one's come back in. Throttle pedal was faulty on it. Just turn the ignition on, push your foot on the throttle. The traction light and the ABS light will start flashing because it knew it had an issue with the throttle. Although it's the engine ECU doing it, it used to trigger the ABS. So we tested it a few times, had the scope on it. The voltages all looked about the same, whether it was good or bad. It would jump between reference voltage D and E, or accelerator voltage D and E. So we never really got to the end of it. So we'd have it all set up. We'd test it one day, go, right, at the moment it's all good. Get some voltages out of it, some live data out of it. Next day we go back to it, think, well, as soon as it starts mucking about, you know, we'll jump back on it. We'd have it all set up and it'd be here for 3 or 4 days and wouldn't play up. I'd put it outside, think, you know, we've got all this other work in, we need the space. The next time we go outside, it'll be mucking about and vice versa. See, we could never get it constant enough to be in the same place where we was ready to test it and see the fault, not see the fault. So it's been okay for the last 2 weeks. So we spoke to the customer. I said, look, we can't get to the end of it until it's doing it more permanently. I said, I will go out there and start it now, see how we go. Gone out there, started it, fault's there. Like, brilliant, you know. Got it in that afternoon, coming this morning, the fault's gone. So again, when you're trying to run a garage, you can't just jump off customer's car who's paid a deposit and we're halfway through their car to jump onto these. That's why we're trying to leave it in the workshop, but then it takes up space. Oh, it's a nightmare. Anyhow, coming this week, it's all good. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set up a test, pull the back of the ECU off so we can go directly onto the pins, and we can go directly onto the pins on the throttle pedal and see what the difference is. We opened it up and the engine ECU had tarnish on all these pins. Just show you what we got. So all of these pins, not this white stuff, that's actually the circuit board cleaner. All of these pins had a light tarnish of what looked like semi-corrosion. You know, it was a brown stain between all the pins and it looked like it was possibly shorting them out. So we're giving it a good clean up, and now again it's still okay, but we've found something. So that's it. All we can do is get it back together. We've found something. Was expecting it to be of a bad connection on the loom. We've load tested the loom from here down to the throttle pedal. The throttle pedal was a genuine throttle pedal 2 years ago, so the chance of that being at fault are pretty remote. but we do like to try and be precise. So that's why we stripped this out to check directly onto the pin. So if we had a sort of fault on one of the internal connector pins, we'd see the voltage difference between the pedal and the ECU without disturbing too much. But now we've found that, I think we're going to just clean it up, get it out. We'll give it a quick road test. But yeah, sometimes you just got to call it a day.
We've got a Clio 172 and it's lovely. This came in for a suspected immobiliser fault. We actually narrowed it down to corrupted data between the ECU and the UCH, but parts are an absolute nightmare to get. But luckily the customer dropped some parts off to us yesterday that he'd found, so we're going to put it all back together and I'm going to show you some processes. I'm going to show you the inside and the outside of the car because it's gorgeous, and yeah, let's get it running again. Right, so this is the engine bay of the 172, and customer used this as a little bit of a track car, so he's fully rebuilt it and it's pristine in here. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll walk you to here. Yeah, you got the 2 bucket seats, you got the roll cage in, custom shifter, the custom steering wheel. Is absolutely gorgeous in here. So let's put it all back together and get him back on the track with it.
Well, look at that for a strip down. So this one come in with a heater blower fault. Come with I think it's a radio fault. Heater blower not going on fast, just sort of stays where it is, and the aircon not working at all. We've gone into it, we've scanned it. We can activate the fan to go flat out through the scan tool. We can activate the air conditioning to come on, so everything from the control modules down are all working okay. But we have got a fault in there for one of the ventilation, the air distribution flat drive. To get to that is tucked behind here. You've got to take the whole dashboard out to get to it. So that's what we've stripped out now. We've activated it. It's not sitting where it's meant to be sitting. It wouldn't surprise me if the gears are the worm drive or something's worn on it. So the gears are stripped or something, so it can't do its full sweep to find out where it's meant to be to set itself up. We've had this on a couple of German cars. An Audi, if that one of them motors mucks about, it just turns the aircon off straight away. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. You know, I've confirmed it with the customer. So he's saying it's got a flat motor fault. What do you want to do? Well, fix it. You know, it's a sales car. He's a very good salesman. Wants his car's perfect, so he said just get it stripped and get it done. So we've had to strip it all out like this and get it back together so we can sort of do some testing. So let's get into it, see what we can find.
So I've disconnected the boot latch itself. The drain's gone, so I've latched it over and plugged it back in. The drain's not back yet, but last time it did take about 20 minutes or so for it to come, and then it would go again. So we'll give it a little while and see what it does. But hopefully, I think we found the issue.
So we've gone a bit further with this Mini. So the flat motor, which changes the direction of it, definitely isn't doing what it's meant to be doing. So we've had to pull that metal part forward just a tad to get it out. So we've got one of them on order. We're going to see if that changes it. If not, it's going to be part of the heater box. So this one we'll catch up with next week. But yeah, let's see how we go with that.
Right, so the 172 is all put back together. The ECU's gone in there and put the rest of the engine bay back together because we had to take the intake out, part of the fuse box had to be pulled out, battery all out. I'll take you in here. We've got the interior all back together. The UCH actually goes up there. You access it through here, which is the interior fuse box. Then you can pull it all down, unplug it, but all of this has got to come out this side panel. Got all the ignition barrel back together. That's all good to go. So yeah, all we've got to do now is get it out of the workshop. Right, listen to that. She's all good to go. Came in as a non-start and now she's leaving starting. Right, he can have that back on the track now, can't he? Job's a carrot.
We cleaned the connection pins up on this ECU, which we spoke about. We're just going to get it back together, get it back to the customer, and now it started doing all sorts of rubbish stuff. So pulled it apart, and this is what we found. And as you can see, it's all corroded on inside the ECU. So the corrosion has actually come through the vent in the ECU. It sits literally right in there, all the water gets on top of it. It's come through there and it's corroded this side of the board, which we didn't see. So unfortunately, it's going to need a new board. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take it home. I'm going to go right the way through this, give it a good clean up, get it under the scope, see if we've got any burnt traces. Hopefully we'll be able to get it back, but we're not sure. If not, it's going to be a brand new unit. We're going to price it up from the dealer, but I assume it's going to be 2-3 grand to get that done. So I'm going to take this home this weekend, get the car outside, make a decision on what we're going to do with that one.
So this is the drain. I've disconnected the feedback wire out, plug in the boot. So now it's all shut down. We're going to test what the battery voltage is, leave it overnight and test it in the morning. That's going to show us whether the car's still waking up, because in the morning the volts in the battery will be a little bit lower. So we're going to test it now. At the moment we've got 12.55. So I'll make sure I'll write that down and then I'll come back in the morning, test it, and that will see whether we've cleared the fault. Right, so it's the morning now. We tested this last night. It had 12.55 volts. So we're going to test it again. Just make sure that drain is gone. And it is indeed gone. So what we'll do, we'll price up a new unit, get it all fitted, and then kick it out to the customer. Job's a carrot.
Right, not bad into the week, is it? So yeah, we've got a fair bit of little jobs moved out and done as well, so we're fairly clear for next week. We've got 3 or 4 booked in for each day. What we're going to try and do next week, because we've been a bit here and there and trying to do everything out. Monday morning, we're going to come in half an hour early. We're going to work out, as you as well, and we're going to make a plan for the week. So we've got the old BMW out there what needs some work doing on it. We're actually going to set it out when we're going to work on it. So not every time we finish a job, so what should we do next? Going to make a nice plan out exactly what car we're going to do at what point. We've got a Mini over there with a heater fault. We've got the Q7 we need to have a play with. So instead of just juggling the work all day long, we're going to try and do that. So it's got to be the way to do it, isn't it? We try and plan each day, but then there are cars sat outside there which must get onto that, must get onto that. It's just a little niggly thing in the back of your head, isn't it? Instead of just going, right, Wednesday afternoon we're going to be doing a BMW.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, instead of just finishing like 3 or 4 jobs and then thinking, oh, what are we going to start? Because there's 4 maybe left over.
Exactly, you know, so we don't know. So we're going to try that. So Monday morning we're going to have a little bit of a meeting, work out what we're going to do when. And again, you get to 4 o'clock, you finish most of the cars, you've got another car out, you go, oh, should I spend an hour on that, shan't I? You know, I think it'll make it a bit easier. So if anyone out there does these sort of processes and does these sort of morning meetings and that, if they've got any ideas what might sort of help us, drop them down in the comments, and then, hopefully we'll start putting them in place. So, but yeah, it's gone well. We've cleared the load out. Nice fresh start next week. I don't think we've got anything really left over, have we? Just the one micro, which must get done next week. So that's the first one in the diary. The micro, what's been here since before we started the videos. So what can I do? You know, so that's the first one in next week. And so thanks for watching. We'll be back Monday. And tomorrow night is going to be a Defender with a case study. That's fairly involved. So yeah, hope you like that one. We'll see you Monday, eh?
Yeah. Ta-da!
Ta-da!